Hey Vinyl community, it's Jason. Saturday, I want to do a video. I got a guest here today. This is my son, João. João wanted to be in the video, so BC, João, BC. Yeah, it's, my wife's out. My son's he's a little under the weather, got runny nose, had a little fever, so he's kicking it here with me today. So we're just listening to some records and decided a good time to do a video. And today I want to do it inside. This is where I keep most of my records. My record player here, and then my records here. I usually do the videos out in the garage. It's kind of more the staging area where I'm cleaning records, and I buy collections and I sell a lot out there, so a lot of stuff out there is to sell as well. So anyways, let's get into it. Some records I found recently or made their way into my collection. So the first one I want to show, I showed this in the vinyl tag video. This is Quartets Novo. This is what we're listening to. This thing is a grail for me for sure. One of my favorite Brazilian jazz records, if not my favorite Brazilian jazz record of all time. Hermeto Pascoal, I think he's just a genius, and I have almost all his stuff that I want now. I just missing one more I want to get, which is super rare, doesn't really come up that much, but hoping to find it maybe sometime. Ayrton Moreira also on here, who played a lot of percussion in a lot of jazz records. There's Teo de Barrios and Geraldo Monte, who didn't really blow up. I mean, not that I really know of, not internationally at least. But so this is a 4-piece, and this thing is, I think it's pitiful because this thing is historical, I believe, because this was the first kind of record to introduce the Bahian sound out into a more mainstream audience, and they did so by, mixing it in the jazz music. So if you approach this thing kind of like a Blue Note jazz record or something, you'd probably be disappointed. But if you kind of take it in that it has that Brazilian sound and Bahian sound, which now is so prevalent, you hear in a lot of the music, which is Bahian. It's kind of Bahia is north of Brazil, and it has like a pretty big African population, African Brazilian, I guess. So it has that African influence in a lot of the music, which you later saw come out. I mean, this was '67, and then it kind of Bahia sound kind of found its way into the music of the late '60s, early '70s with Tropicalia, with Caetano Veloso, Jorge Benny, Novos Baianos, stuff like that. So, but this was the first record that really kind of brought it to a mainstream audience. And this thing is just incredible. So I definitely highly recommend Quartets Novo. This is the only album they put out as a 4-piece. Hermeto and Ayrton played together quite a bit. I have Ayrton's first 2 solo albums where Hermeto's on there. I think he wrote a lot of the music. He's an amazing player. I mean, he has a beautiful ear. He plays multi-instrumentalist, and he writes most of the composition. So I also have one of the records I have of his is Live Evil. Well, it's not his, it's Miles Davis, Live Evil, but he wrote a couple of songs on there, and he plays on that album as well. So I love Hermeto. I highly recommend this. So super excited to finally get this in my collection. And this was an internet purchase. I'm going to try to tone down the internet purchase this year. So that was kind of my last big one. That was the end of December, kind of Christmas present to myself, I guess. So the next one I want to show, this is Geraldo Vandre, Canto Geral. So I bought this because of the Quartets Novo. I wanted this for a while, but once I got that, I kind of finally pulled the trigger on this one. And this is kind of where Quartets Novo got their, I guess, how they came together, because they are the backup band for this, which came out, I believe, the year before. So I mean, it's not the same for sure. Quartets Novo, they kind of shackles came off, you know what I mean? Now you can hear it's amazing. But this one, these are all Geraldo Vandre tunes, so they're kind of confined within the songwriting itself. And this is Geraldo Vandre he was huge at the time. He was very popular. And I've talked about him before when I showed the Manduka record. I bought one of his other records because I thought it was influential on the Manduka record, and kind of the same thing. This has to do with that one because it's influential. I mean, Hermeto Pascoal is his own beast for sure, and I think he does all the arranging on this album as well. But I mean, Geraldo Vandre was one of the guys who got exiled he got kicked out. He came back. I don't know when he came back, but anyway, I'd really like to maybe understand some of the lyrics more. Obviously, he got exiled because of what he was singing about, so I would kind of like to. And he was huge at the time in Brazil, so yeah, he was very influential. So and this is good too. It has the same kind of feel. It also has there's a group does some amazing harmonies. I think it's Trio Mariah. So they're also on here. So he's got basically 2 super groups and him as a singer-songwriter. And they toured and they were his backup band for this when he was touring for this album. So yeah, and this one's pretty cheap. I got this is like mint, less than $20. And it's in that sandwich cover. Same with that Quartets Novo. Those Odeon's kind of famous for the flimsy like sandwich covers. Yeah, so this is the original Odeon. So finally pulled the trigger on this one. I'm super happy to get it. So I think that might be it for the Brazilian records, which surprise. But next one I want to show. This is Dr. John Night Trooper Gris. This thing is amazing. I know Steve Carlson just showed this. I know James Buttery showed this. I'm sure a lot of people in DC know this. This thing is amazing. It's like voodoo, jazz, soul. You can't even really explain, like psych. It's a monster, I think. He's got a lot of good records in his catalog. I have The Sun, the Moon, the Herbs. I think that's the title, Sun, Moon, Herbs. That one's incredible. That was my favorite, Dr. John. That one's incredible. I mean, that's Eric Clapton. You got Mick Jagger singing backup. You know you're huge when Mick Jagger's singing backup vocals for you. But this thing definitely has a different feel than the other ones. This thing's just like super raw and gritty and just incredible. Definitely highly recommend if you don't know this. Dr. John. He was one of my big vinyl discovery. Like when I started collecting records, I discovered him because of collecting records and coming across one of his records out in the wild. So yeah, so super excited to get this one. This is also an internet purchase. So here's one actually I found locally. This is Funkadelic Cosmic Slop, and this is the original. And that's cool. That Westbound label, love that thing. So yeah, super excited to find this. I found it at this estate sale place I go to. I used to go every Friday. I hadn't been in a few months. They just weren't ever getting anything new, and a lot of the stuff is kind of garbage. But I end up randomly, and they do come across records from time to time, and so they had this in the front, though they were selling this for a little more. It's funny, I find stuff in the dollar bins that are, solid records that you're being $20-$30 for on the internet, and then they'll have stuff in the front for $10, or like the Cars, or stuff that you can kind of find at record stores for a couple bucks. So it's just, they don't really know, and a lot. But I looked through all the records and I found this one. I was kind of on the way out. I was in a hurry and it looked a little better condition than it ended up being, but it cleaned up pretty nice. It does have one like little scratch that kind of pops, but I was able to give it a couple cleans. So it does play pretty nice. It plays all right. Definitely would like to get an upgrade copy. This is my third Funkadelic. I have Maggot Brain and also the self-titled as well. There's a couple more I'd like to get. This is the only first one I've ever seen Funkadelic in the wild. I've actually seen it a few times in collections, but I swear every time they had no record in it, so I thought it was just my Funkadelic curse. But I finally got one, Cosmic Slop. So yeah, but super excited to get it anyway. Funkadelic, can't pass it up. I didn't pay that much for it. $10. Depois, tá? So I'm gonna show a couple records I found. In a collection I just recently bought. So I bought the collection. I've been finding that recently, with the vinyl picking up, there's a lot of people who are buying, get a collection of like 10, 20 records and then just kind of over it. So I've been buying a couple of those lately, and I pay a little bit more, but those are easier to sell, it seems. So here's a couple. So I bought a collection, basically split it all up, and kept a couple that I wanted. So this is a reissue, but I've never been able to find the original. I'm definitely still looking for it, but still, these records are all like mint. Like I don't know if I even played them, but so it's Dr. Dre, The Chronic, super classic right here. And the reason I did buy the collection was for this record right here, Rage Against the Machine, their self-titled debut. Definitely want to find the original, but it's not cheap. So to get a decent reissue, super stoked on it. Yeah, and this is, this record, I don't really say much about it. This thing's incredible. if you like Rage, this album's, that picture is incredible. I know this picture's really famous, but such a good album. So here's a album that, a couple albums that just came out recently. So this is Maggie Rodgers, her first album. She had an EP, and the two best songs, at least my two favorite songs on the EP are on this. So she mixed, there's video of her online when she kind of blew up, when she was in the master class in New York. NYU, I'm guessing. I don't know, some school in New York. And Pharrell came on, and the video, she blew up because Pharrell was kind of giving him pointers, and he listened to her song and just kind of was like, "Geez, this is incredible." So her roots are folk, but she kind of picked up a lot of electronic music as well when she was traveling to Europe. So this is the kind of that mix. So this is pretty good. I don't know. I gotta listen to it a couple more times. It's like electro pop kind of stuff. But yeah, the two songs, Alaska and On and Off, I think they're great. And it's a good album, good solid album. So yeah, Maggie Rodgers. It's called Hurt in a Past Life. This one is, I just got this in the mail. This is Beirut, Gallipoli. It's just a clear vinyl. Beirut is, he's one of my favorite people to see live. He's so good. He plays ukulele. No, does he play ukulele? I think so. And he plays trumpet as well, and he sings. And he was kind of one of those guys, kind of like what's his name, Connor Oberst. I think Zach Condon's his name, the guy from Beirut. Just kind of like a child prodigy musically. Okay, tá bom, depois, tá? Tá bom, depois. So, yeah, so what I was saying, sorry. Beirut, yeah, but I have his first album, which is incredible. His first three, I kind of want to get all those. I only have the first. This is the second one I've ever bought, and this is the one that just came out a couple months ago, maybe. This thing's awesome. The ones he did recently, I wasn't like they weren't really struck me as much, but this one's great because it kind of takes his sound and it mixes a little bit of kind of electronic. It's very subtle. He did have one album, I think it was his third album, where he had half the album was kind of sounded like 70s electronic music, like almost 70s, 80s. So it had that straight ahead kind of sound, but this is more of like, has the horns, has all that, but it has that kind of like that subtle electronic stuff going on in the back. And this, I really like this. I've listened to it a couple times, and I like it every time. The cover kind of, I don't know, I'm not feeling the cover that much though. It kind of makes like that Dos Equis guy, like the craziest, sexiest guy in the world. I can't remember his kind of title, but I don't know. It just kind of reminds me of that. I don't know, but the record's awesome, so highly recommend Beirut. And Beirut live, as I was saying, like incredible. One of my favorite people to see live. Like the energy is so good. So yeah. Anyways, next one I got. This is Unknown Mortal Orchestra. Tá bom, vai lá. Okay, hold on. If you hear noises, it's my son on the couch. He's talking to my mother-in-law. But as I was saying, yeah, so I was familiar with these guys, and I liked the music, but it was kind of poppy. It just kind of sounded forced. I don't know. There's some good tracks, but just all around, it wasn't Lemminge, and it blew me away. And but I heard this album, and the first two, they're the same. They're good, but they just weren't quite there for me. But this one I really liked. This one, it's a little grittier, I feel. I really kind of found like they found their sound. So yeah, super excited. I was really bummed. They played last year at a really small venue that I really like, and I saw that they were playing, and I was just like, I just kind of. But if I would have knew about this album, I definitely would have bought the tickets and seen them. It would have been. So I kind of regret that show I didn't go to last year. But they also have an album. This is 18. I think they put out 2 albums in 18. The other one is interesting. It's at least in the description when people describe it or how it's described, it kind of sounds like Miles Davis when he does like the stuff he did in like the fusion stuff in the 70s. When he did like recordings in Japan and stuff, so it kind of has that sound. It's obviously not the quality as Miles Davis, but I just find it interesting that he did a record like that. You know, that he's expanding his musical horizons. You know, he's not kind of trying to do the same sound. So that's exciting for me. I might buy that one too. I had to listen to it again, and it didn't blow me away, but it did have some really good sections. I think one's called Hanoi, and it's super cheap. You can buy it for like $10 on the internet, so I might just buy it. But I'm really excited to get this one. I wanted this one when I heard it. I really like it. It kind of reminds me of Tame Impala a little bit, but yeah, really excited to get this one. I'm looking forward to what else they do in the future as well. It sounds like they're kind of, trying to just keep pushing musically, so that's good. This one, I believe this is also 18. This is Tommy Guerrero, Road to Nowhere. Tommy Guerrero was a skater from the Bones Brigade, you know, with Tony Hawk and all those guys. So I knew he did music. I'd never really followed him, but Tommy Guerrero is one of those guys when I'm listening on YouTube. Tommy Guerrero will be the next album after the one I wanted to listen to, and I was like, oh, that's good. And I swear it happened like 4 or 5 times. So finally, I'm just like, you know what? I need to buy Tommy Guerrero. It was meant to be. And all his music, it's kind of like Latin, kind of chill, groovy, little Afrobeat kind of thing. You know, like kind of like surf music. Maybe he's a skater, so it makes sense. But yeah, I finally pulled the trigger, bought it. I don't think I'm gonna be buying anything else in this catalog, maybe I don't know, but it's good to have if you're kind of in that mood, which I am often. I like that kind of sound. It's good music to have like at a party or in the background when you're just chilling. Yeah, it's nothing like, you know, sit down and absorb. It's something just kind of fun and has a good beat, and yeah, so really excited to get that one on 2 good records, I believe. So yeah, Tommy Guerrero. So this next few is my records are slipping all over the place. So the next records I'm going to show is stuff that I've had, but just either need to be cleaned, or there's a couple. The first couple on my show is ones I was going to sell. I'm kind of trying to purge right now, and I'm just, just like Marie Kondo, I guess is that her name? Is it going to give me pleasure? So I'm just trying to get rid of records that I don't think I'm ever really going to play. Like, the music could be great, I'm never going to listen to this. So these are a couple that but I still revisit those. I don't sell records that often, so I have a lot of them still, and I'll dig in the box and I'll just listen to them every once in a while. So these couple were those stuff that I pulled out and I'm not selling these. So this is a Taste on the Boards. I got a little glare there. This is Rory Gallagher. So this is like classic rock, blues rock. I think this came out in '69. So, it's a solid album. I remember liking it, but it's just like, I haven't been listening to a lot of classic rock lately, and if I do, I'm probably going to listen to some certain albums. So I haven't been keeping a lot of classic rock stuff. But there was one track on here, specifically on the boards, when it came on, I was just listening, and it just blew me away. So I had to keep it basically for that track. And it's when I heard it, it's just something that, because sometimes I'll play, if my friend's doing an art show or something, I'll spin records, and it's definitely a song that I could see myself spinning, like at, some of those shows and stuff, so I had to keep it. It's a solid album anyway, but for that track specifically. So, happy to add that to the collection. The next one, this is Brian Eno, Another Green World, and this thing's like super clean. I got little ring wear there, but otherwise this thing is like pretty near mint. This is the original on Island So Brian Eno, I like the stuff work he does on when he produces. I'm not a huge fan of ambient music. I mean, not that I don't like it. Just I don't know. I need something with teeth. I just can't. For me, it just doesn't do it. So I kind of just he does a lot of ambient stuff. So I kind of just listened to it once. Was like, I'm never gonna listen to this. And it fetches, for this condition for decent amount of money, so I can buy something else. But no one bought it. I had a kind of a high price on it anyway, just because I like to have it, because it's kind of a sought after record. So it's nice that they show you have decent records to sell. But I don't know. I listened to it, I pulled it out again, and it just kind of clicked with me. It's not really ambient, which I thought it was. It kind of almost reminds me a little bit of Talking Heads, which makes sense since he produced at least half their albums. But it's got some nice bass lines. There's some tracks I like better than others, but yeah, it's something I want to give it a couple more listens. I don't think I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm definitely gonna hang on to it. So yeah, super excited to add that to the collection. And when I bought that record, I remember specifically buying that when I went to a garage sale. I don't go to garage sales that much anymore with my son. It's just tough. It's just tough to make it out on Saturday mornings. But I specifically remember going to this lady's garage sale, and I was like, "Oh, you have a record?" She's like, "Oh," and I knew she did because the Post had it. So she's like, someone just came and bought them. All I got is this left in this box. So I'm assuming that they're kind of assuming. This is my son Geraldo singing his ABCs. So I just kind of assumed that they weren't going to be that good, and I looked and she had 2 Tom Waits and a Brian Eno in there. And other stuff wasn't that good, but I'm like, wow, someone left these. And so I was like, how much? And she said, make me an offer. I said, $5. She said, they're yours. So I bought 2 Tom Waits and a Eno for $5. That was a super good deal. So I totally remember that. So this next one, this is one that I've had in my collection, and I wanted to go in the collection. It had a warp in it. So I've recently bought a vinyl flat, and so yeah, this finally got this de-warped enough to play. So this is Shuggie Otis, Freedom Flight. This is blues, but it's got a little bit of kind of psych feels. I mean, the song everyone knows, Strawberry Letter, but the whole thing's awesome. So excited to finally get this de-warped. So yeah, nice add to the blues collection. So this is JJE, the Johnson Sextet. So this is one. This wasn't warped, but this was pretty dirty, and I finally gave it another clean, and it finally cleaned up really well enough to play. It's like a BG copy, but this came in a collection that I showed a while ago. Got some Nina Simone in there. Forget what else I had there. Max Roach. So this is the original 6i. So this has I believe it has Clifford. I think it has Clifford Jordan on it, which is.
We'll just do this before we rush to the top at night at 11. Baby.
Yeah, Clifford Jordan tenor sax. Yeah, so this thing's awesome. I don't really usually listen to this kind of jazz, but I don't usually listen to this kind of jazz, but I don't know. For some reason, I really like this. So super excited to finally get it cleaned up. So I'll try to wrap this up since it seems like hopefully I can finish before he takes over the show here. But this last one, this is Amon Duul. The title is Dance of Lemmings, Dance of the Lemmings, and this was one I was going to trade it to a Brazilian guy I trade records with, and I don't know, I really wasn't feeling the deal that he was trying to give me, so I just said, oh fine, I'll do the deal, but I'm gonna pull one of the records out. I want to keep this one because I didn't really give it quality listen, and this thing, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I always seek can records, and when I asked this guy who sells records, he says, check out Amon Duul. So it kind of has the krautrock sound. I mean, it's krautrock. It's good. Definitely gotta listen to it. It's not one of those records that you play in the background. You gotta sit down and listen to it, kind of thing, So, but yeah, I'm definitely excited to pull it back into the collection, not get rid of it. I was kind of hesitant anyway. I kind of wanted to give it more listens, but I was just trying to get some Brazilian albums out of it, and I know this thing, you can get some decent money for this original press, and original US press and UA. I'm on Duul. So yeah, that wraps it up. At least I got through them all. Seems like my son needs a little bit, a little playtime right now. But anyways, yeah, those are the recent records, and thanks for checking it out.